All right, welcome back to the One Bar and Lupagus show. Today we are SKOL'ing with the enemy. We have Faiz from FaizSportsTalk. How you doing?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Oh, not much. Just riding a 2-game win streak. Feeling pretty damn good about ourselves.
And we're riding a 3-game losing streak, so complete opposite. But great to see you guys at least winning.
Yeah, we kind of gave up on the season a couple of weeks ago, looking for that #1 overall pick, but now hopes are restored. So who knows? Who knows? It's kind of funny. We started with draft picks. Let's jump right into that. I got to ask you, man, how can you sleep at night knowing that you guys traded up for the 2nd overall pick in a draft that included quarterbacks Pat Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, yet you walk away with Mitch Trubisky?
Why you got to start here, man? A lot of Bears fans would say they sleep with one eye open or they don't sleep at all. I'm actually going to say I sleep. That's it. I don't sleep well, but I sleep. And the reason I say that is because I've talked about this ad nauseum with Bears fans. They know this. Anybody who follows my channel knows this. Going into that draft, Mitchell Trubisky and Deshaun Watson were the de facto #1 picks. Every mock draft had those guys being the guys to be taken off the board in terms of quarterbacks. Nobody saw Patrick Mahomes coming. I mean, I know we want to give credit to the Chiefs and they took him, good for him, but nobody saw him becoming that. So I'm not going to blame the Bears front office and management for it. They made a mistake not taking Deshaun Watson for sure, but the thing is, Mitchell Trubisky was considered the safe pick, and you had a new GM making his, first real big boy draft pick, and so he went with the safe guy that all the mock drafts had. Obviously there were red flags, no big time experience. Obviously didn't do as much as what Deshaun Watson did, not even close. But they were sold on his raw tools and talent, and they thought, that was going to be the guy. It didn't work out. So obviously it's a swing and a miss, but I'm not over here thinking, it was the worst draft pick in the world, because I know at that time that Mitchell Trubisky was considered a top prospect at quarterback. So again, I sleep, maybe not well, but I sleep.
Okay, well, we took Christian Ponder. It wasn't that high, but we still took him. So
yeah,
I feel you a little bit there. Let's just stick with Trubis for a little bit. First of all, what went wrong, and is he done in Chicago? Is it over, or is there still chance he somehow figures this thing out and becomes that player up there with the Deshaun Watsons and Pat Mahomes of the world?
Yeah, so that's a good question too. I'll give you 2 answers. The short, simple answer is he's done. He's a free agent after this year, and already benched this year. So all signs point to the Bears letting him go and him becoming a free agent and finding another team. The long, complicated answer is, maybe. And the only reason I say maybe and not even a yes is because our current quarterback, Nick Foles, is struggling as well. So there's a chance that Mitchell Trubisky could be considered back as a starting quarterback. Now, right now he's hurt, by the way. A lot of people don't know that. He played in 1 snap in one of the games earlier, and he got injured on that 1 play. So he's going to be out for a few weeks, but there's a chance, obviously, he'll be back. But if Matt Nagy and this Bears coaching staff inserts him back into the lineup, then maybe, and again, this is a 1 to 10% chance here. If Mitchell Trubisky plays really, really well and the Bears finish the year strong, maybe make the playoffs, win a playoff game, at that point, maybe you franchise tag him and you see, maybe if he can do it again. But that's a very slim proposition. That's why, to me, the short, quick answer is I think he's done in Chicago.
Yeah, just from our standpoint, watch a lot of old Trubs film or whatever, but it always seemed like he was doing his best when he was on the run, kind of throwing, definitely not staying in the pocket, but, he definitely, you knew he loved Allen Robinson. I mean, he would throw to him 15 times a game, or maybe even a half. But, it's tough to see. You see flashes, but, for him never to be able to put it all together is kind of disappointing. Not for us as Vikings fans. We like to revel in your misery a little bit. So how big difference between Foles and Trubisky? I mean, is it that much of a difference? Do you really feel like Foles is that big of an upgrade?
It's really not, and I'm glad you asked that. It's really not that big of an upgrade. Some Bears fans would say it's not an upgrade at all. In fact, it's a downgrade. The thing with Mitchell Trubisky was, for better or worse, he kind of gave you a pop factor in the offense. Like, you could kind of see sometimes he could give you a big time run. He'll air it out, and you might get a deep throw. And with Nick Foles, I mean, it's not as fun in terms of the offense and what he brings to it. It's very vanilla, very boring. Now, again, all we care about is winning football games, but Nick Foles isn't doing that either. So if you're giving me a guy who was brought in to replace Mitchell Trubisky, and he's supposed to be everything Trubisky's not, which is accurate and has he giving you. So that's the thing. If Nick Foles was, actually being accurate and actually, having good decision making, I'd be fine with it. But he's not. And now add to the fact that he can't run. I mean, this man he's a statue in the pocket. Like there's no moving Nick Foles. At least Trubisky, his best attribute was his legs, and we've got a pretty porous offensive line right now. A mobile quarterback would help. So to your question, Nick Foles at this time, with this current roster, with this offensive line, he's not an upgrade. And some would argue he's a downgrade because we need a mobile quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky you're facing us. We don't have much of a pass rush right now, so maybe it'll pan out for you guys on Monday night. Let's get off the Trubes. I know everybody likes to talk about Mitch Trubisky, and we're going to move on here. For not having a first-round pick, I was actually pretty damn impressed with the Bears draft class last year. A couple guys are standing out already: Jalen Johnson, Cole Kmet, Daryl Mooney. One guy I really want to ask you about is Jalen Johnson. He was linked to the Vikings. We went with Jeff Gladney instead, who's been pretty damn good this year for us. But how's Jalen Johnson looked, and what you guys are feeling about him right now?
We love him in Chicago. I mean, just phenomenal. When he was drafted, a lot of people were concerned about his injury history, which is why I think he would have been a lock first-round pick if his injury history wasn't there. But he's fit right in, and he's been, I think, phenomenal for us. And it's funny because our defense isn't the problem, but damn, when you add to your strength, you can never complain about that as much. So Jalen Johnson's been an absolute stud for us. Like, there's nothing he hasn't done to where we haven't asked him to, just coming in and obviously performing from day one. So I would say I've been very happy with Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, where did this Daryl Mooney come from? This guy is a speedster. He's made some
from Tulane. Yeah, Darnell Mooney's definitely a guy who also burst onto the scene. I think outside of Allen Robinson, he is our best offensive player. Like, no doubt about it. And it's funny because if Darnell Mooney had competent quarterback play and was actually in a good offense, he might be competing for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's that good. The Bears still don't use him enough. He fell to us, and he already in his first year has passed up Anthony Miller, who was our de facto number 2 receiver in this offense. So, I think this is the part where, Bears fans are never going to give credit to our GM Ryan Pace because, he swung and missed on Mitchell Trubisky, but he did take Darnell Mooney. He's taken guys like Jalen Johnson. So you got to give him credit there. And so I love it. And it was obviously a phenomenal pick for us. And yeah, I'm very happy with him. And he's the second best player on the offense after Allen Robinson. I can't believe I'm saying that with him at being a rookie, but it's the state of the Bears offense in 2020.
Yeah. Do you guys have a first rounder next year, or are you guys still without that?
I believe we have a first rounder next year.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, hell, if you're going to pick with the guys you did this year, maybe you don't need a first rounder. Again, we're here with Faiz from FaizSportsTalk. Check him out on YouTube. Fantastic stuff. At least troll him this week. Give him a lot of grief if you're a Vikings fan. All right, let's go to the NFC North. What team do you hate the most in the NFC North, and why is it the Green Bay Packers?
Love it. Yeah, I mean that's just a given. I've talked with Lions fans. I've talked with Vikings fans too. And we were talking earlier. It's just the amount of Packers fans out there that kind of is irritating. At least Lions fans are humble. They know they haven't done much in their history. Vikings fans, still humble. Packers fans, I mean, you would think this team's won 6, 7 Super Bowls. But if Vikings and Lions or Bears were blessed with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, we would be in the same boat and gloating. So am I saying they shouldn't gloat? No, but I am saying they could use a little bit of humble pie sometimes because they've got 2 generational quarterbacks. And I want to see how they act when they've got a Christian Ponder, when they've got a Mitchell Trubisky. Let's see how that would be. So, no doubt about it, the Packers are the most known team in the NFC.
And it sounds like they might have him in Jordan Love, so maybe we'll see in a year.
I'm crossing my fingers.
Yeah, right? So safe to say the Bears, your fans are most excited when you guys beat the Packers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So if you could plug any current Viking, take them out of that beautiful shade of purple, put them in your, I guess I call it navy and orange. What is it? Navy and whatever.
Yeah, navy, orange, blue-ish.
Put them in that shade of bear blue. Who would it be?
I want you to close your eyes because I don't know if you want to picture it, but I want Dalvin Cook.
Oh,
in
man.
Navy, blue, and orange. I want Dalvin Cook right now because Dalvin Cook, not to just mention the fact what he's been doing the last 2 games, but Dalvin Cook on this Bears team would be exactly what this offense needs because we don't have a good quarterback. We need to run the football. Our offensive line isn't good. I get it, but David Montgomery, our second-year running back, he has not excelled and progressed like we hoped he would. If we had somebody like a Dalvin Cook back there who just seemingly makes, something out of nothing, I think this offense would be the, Cowboys from a few years ago with that DeMarco Murray offense, run the ball, run the clock, milk the clock a little bit, keep the other team away from getting the football, kind of like that style. So it's not even close to me. It's Dalvin Cook. He's a beast. And now I'm hearing, MVP chatter for Dalvin Cook. So just letting you know that. So.
Yeah, no, we started talking about in our video on Sunday. It's like he's got to start getting in the consideration because he's that good. And that's why the Vikings are 1-2 in a row. It's because of Dalvin Cook. So
literally, he's your entire offense. And let me just ask you this question: does that kind of scare you that one player's so different? Usually it's the quarterback, but to see this is like prime AP type of dominance.
Well, what scares me is his injury history. I know he's one play from being out again, which we've
absolutely
been accustomed to now in Minnesota. And Kirk Cousins is not having a good year right now. The flip side of that is Alexander Madison is a quality back. He can step in and make some things happen. And then you got weapons like Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, assuming Kirk Cousins can get him the ball, which hasn't exactly been the case lately. So, yeah, I am scared. I don't want to wrap Delvin.
No, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
See, you're being honest. I love that. Yeah, but
again, he's given us. He's the reason they've won 2 in a row. So,
absolutely.
Speaking of streaks, the Bears started off really hot. I think they're 5-1. They've now lost 3 in a row, dropping to 5-4. Who are the real Bears? Are they the 5-1 start, or are they this last 0-3 team, or where do they lie here?
I'm torn on this question because when the Bears were 5-1, we were beating up on bad teams, minus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that was our legitimate win that we've had this year. But in our 0-3 losing streak, you face some pretty tough teams in the Saints, the Titans, etc. So I kind of, am having trouble figuring it out myself. But if you ask me, it's probably the 0-3 team. And the only reason I say that is because at the end of the season, the goal is to make the playoffs. The goal is to go far and win the Super Bowl. Well, you're going to have to beat good teams. And if you can't beat good teams, then that's the team you are. And so that's what's happened with this Bears team is we haven't been able to beat quality opponents, mainly because – not even mainly. It is because of our offense, and the offense can't get going. So to me, I'd probably say we're closer to the 0-3 team. Do I think we're this bad offensively? I mean, man, I'd like to think not, but I don't know how I can defend it. So to answer your question, I'd probably say closer to the 0-3 team.
All right, and you kind of segue nicely into my next question, so thank you for that. What is the problem with the Bears offense right now? What's going on? Why are they struggling to put points on the board against the Titans defense? That's been horrible. They couldn't get anything going until late.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier, you're like, oh, don't worry about the Vikings. We don't have a pass rush. Well, the Titans didn't have a pass rush either, and they still got to us. And we couldn't score on them for 3 quarters. We got shut out in the first half. What's the problem with the offense? complicated question. I'll try to make it as simple as possible. It's the play calling, number one, first and foremost, with Matt Nagy. And number two, it's definitely the quarterback play. And then number three, it's the offensive line. Now, how you want to allocate the percentage here, that's kind of where everyone differs. Some Bears fans will say it's mainly Matt Nagy and play calling. Other Bears fans say, how can you call any plays behind this patchwork offensive line? And then other players, other Bears fans are going to say, Nick Foles isn't playing well. We want Mitchell Trubisky back. So where I'm at is every team, for the most part, has dealt with bad offensive lines. The Bengals beat the Titans, if you remember, 2 weeks ago with patchwork offensive line. Quarterback play. There's like 5 elite quarterbacks. You mentioned it earlier. Kirk Cousins isn't playing well. You guys don't have an elite quarterback right now. So what does that lead me to? That leads me to the head coach, to the play caller, Matt Nagy. And this has been my issue with him since start of 2019. If people remember, a long time ago in 2018, he won Coach of the Year. That actually happened, by the way. I know people forget that, but it's because he was an innovative coach. He was a young mind, and he was able to just like scheme around the players. 2019 comes, he can't scheme with the personnel. He doesn't know how to put the right players in the right pieces. He gets too cute, sometimes doesn't run in short yardage situations. We got a 4th and 1 and let's run a pitch out to Cordell Patterson, So to me, it's the play calling. It's Matt Nagy. You got to be able to scheme around a bad offensive line. You got to be able to scheme with what the quarterback you have. That to me is the makings of a good coach. A team that I like to use as a comparison is the LA Rams. I don't think people think Jared Goff's an elite quarterback, but when we played the Rams, Sean McVay coached circles around Matt Nagy. And I believe the Rams have similar offensive talent that the Bears do. So it's all coaching to me. I'm going to have to say Matt Nagy's the reason why this offense is so bad. And we're at the point now where if we don't win games very soon, he's going to have to give up play calling or he could lose his job.
I was just going to say, is he in the hot seat? Has there been talk of that in Chicago?
So hot seat of losing his job, I would still say no, because he's still a good leader. He's still a good coach in the sense of guys like playing for him. When we had John Fox and Mark Trestman, guys didn't respect them. Like they would step all over those coaches. Matt Nagy, at least the guys respect him, but it's slipping away now. Like if you keep losing games, guys won't respect you. And I'm sure you guys have dealt the same with Mike Zimmer. So he's a good leader. He's a good coach, just awful play caller. So if he wants to save his job, I think it would just be us letting somebody else call plays. And so when you say hot seat, he's absolutely on the hot seat for calling plays. Like the media has been grilling him in Chicago for 3 weeks now to give up play calling. But as far as firing him, I don't see that happening unless the Bears just completely implode and we finish 6-10 or 7-9.
All right. Again, we're here with Faiz from FaizSportsTalk. Check him out on YouTube. A couple more for you. Before we get to the prediction, I got to ask you one thing. Every team or every fan of a team has, when that one player comes out, they kind of just roll their eyes. They dread. Ours was Drew Samia when he was our starting right guard. It was horrible. It was disgusting. Who's that guy in the Bears? Who's the guy who goes out there and why is this guy getting put out there every single week when every single week he absolutely just rubs? So give me that Bear that we can watch for Monday night and get excited when we see him take the field.
So I alluded to him earlier. So it's actually our version of Taysom Hill. It's Cordell Patterson.
Okay.
Yeah, and you might think it's funny I'm saying that because Vikings fans like him. It's not his fault. I don't cringe at seeing Cordell Patterson like he's not a good player. I cringe when I see him because I know Matt Nagy's not going to use him right. So he is our backup running back. As hard as that to believe he is. He's our backup running back, and he's like our, I think, 4th or 5th receiver. So it's really the Taysom Hill role. And it gets frustrating because he always seems to get used in those crucial situations, the 3rd and short, when we need to get past the sticks, and it's always like these weird plays, like I mentioned earlier, a pitch to the left-hand side on 4th and 1, do something where, like, I know Cordell Patterson has talent. He's really good at kickoff returns. I would just like to see him there. Like, when I see him on the offense and I see, oh my God, we're about to use a screen pass to Cordell Patterson, I just know it. Like, that's when I cringe, because I know Nagy is trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. Like, he's just trying to make it work. It never does. He'll have one time where he'll have a play where he kind of breaks off, and then he'll stick with it the rest of the time. So to me, I don't hate Cordell Patterson. I just hate the way Matt Nagy uses him. And he uses him a lot, to the point where I think he might have some blackmail on him. I don't know, man. I'm just saying. It feels like that.
Well, I don't think he was used right in Minnesota either. So maybe that's just the story of Cordell Patterson. No one seems to know how to use this guy.
How did you guys use him? I'm curious, because he's like everything for us.
He had a great rookie season. We used him kind of the Percy Harvin role as a receiver out of the backfield. And then Zimmer came in, and I don't know what happened there. Those two just did not connect, and he quit using them. He was thrown to Charles Johnson, I think, instead.
Was Patterson even returning kickoffs for you guys?
Yeah, he was. I remember we were down like one game 41-0 against the Seahawks, and he returned to the house, and he was all dancing and stuff. It was pretty embarrassing. But
gotcha.
He was excited. All right, so this is time for the prediction. You don't have to give me a score. Even just who you think is going to win, and how you see this thing shaking out Monday night, factoring, just the Vikings have lost 4 in a row to the Bears, and Kirk Cousins Monday night. Those things don't mix.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's easy to forget that, right? Because Vikings are coming in hot, Bears are coming in not hot, but we've kind of, better or worse, owned you guys for the last 2 years. And again, I don't know why Kirk Cousins doesn't play well against us, but he just doesn't. So when I kind of take a look at this game, defensively, it's very easy for me. How are you going to stop Dalvin Cook, right? And to me, the one thing that I do feel better about is you guys played the Packers and the Lions, 2 very, very bad run defenses. Would you say it's safe to say this is the best defense you've played over the last couple of games?
Yeah, probably since the Colts back in week 2.
Yeah, so I think, again, I'm not saying we're going to stop Dalvin Cook, but we played Derrick Henry last week. I consider Derrick Henry a very good running back in the same caliber as Dalvin Cook. We limited him to less than 70 yards. Now, Dalvin Cook is a much better pass catcher, and he could still destroy us in that aspect of the game than Derrick Henry can. But I feel much better about our chances knowing that our defense is better than the Packers defense and the Lions defense. So defensively, it's just stopping Derrick Henry. Like, I respect Adam Thielen, I respect Justin Jefferson, but if you guys beat us through the air, I'll take it. All the power to you guys. But if you beat us because Dalvin Cook ran all over us, that's gonna make me mad, right? At that point, offensively, again, your defense hasn't been good. It's not been the Vikings defense over the past couple of seasons. I don't know, injury-wise, do you guys have major injuries coming in this week? I'm trying to remember. You guys had like 3 corners out last week.
Yeah, our cornerbacks are basically a crapshoot every week. You don't know who's going to show up. You don't know who these guys are. This year's been crazy with pulling guys off the practice squad. There was 2 corners playing last week I never even heard of before. So who knows? I don't know. Okay. Maybe Cam Dancer comes back. That's our only hope. But other than that, yeah, it might be Chris Jones out there. And Chris Boyd played well. We do like Chris Boyd over here.
Okay, yeah. So, offensively for the Bears, the game plan, right, it should be, I think we would be able to attack you guys through the air, mainly because we don't run the football. David Montgomery is in concussion protocol. I know it's a Monday night game, so he might not play. And if he doesn't, again, I don't think it's a big difference because we don't run the football. We're the worst rushing team in the NFL. So I'm going to kind of take the assumption here is this is a must-win game for Matt Nagy. And it's weird I say that. Not for the Bears, for Matt Nagy. And the reason I say that is because we've got the bye next week. And if we go into the bye 5-5, now, everything's kind of fallen off and it's a slippery slope and it's not looking good. But if we go into the bye with the win and we're 6-4, we still have a chance to do something, maybe make the playoffs. So I think we see Matt Nagy draw up and come up with his best game plan, because if he does not, if we lose this game and it's because our offense doesn't put up points, I think he has to give up play calling, and that's what's going to be talked about over the bye week and then after coming out of the bye week. So this is kind of his last opportunity to hold on to the clipboard and call those plays and hold on to the play sheet. So I think we should be able to get fairly whatever we want. But again, I'm not going to project our offense to put up a lot of points. I'm just saying, like, it's not a tough defense. So I know you said, you know, I don't need to give a score prediction. I do have one. It's fairly low scoring. So I want to know what you think about it as well. So the only way the Bears win this game is if we keep it low scoring. If it's high scoring, we can't keep up. We just can't unless we get a defensive touchdown. So I actually have the Bears winning 17-14. A very low scoring game. And I told you there's two reasons. I think we can neutralize Dalvin Cook better than any team you guys have faced recently. I think Matt Nagy kind of coaches for his play calling life and finds a way to get it done. Narrow victory here. Division games are always close, but I got the Bears winning.
Yeah, I do think the Vikings end the Bears winning streak against them this year, but I do not think it's going to be in this game. I think that's going to come later in the season on the rematch. I do think the Bears will probably take this one at home. I don't see them losing 4 in a row. Kirk Cousins' history on Monday night has not been great. Again, the other thing, and you mentioned why is Kirk Cousins struggled against the Bears? It's because he's getting killed. You guys have completely out physical their O-line series. Our O-line is playing better right now. Ezra Cleveland came in at right guard, and the whole unit has just gotten way better since that happened. So I like our chances at least to match up better from a physical standpoint, but I do think you guys maybe take this one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, us being at home helps as well. So I think that's another reason why. I mean, if you ask me right now, I haven't made my prediction, but there's a very good chance you guys take the other game. So, yeah, definitely think it's going to be a close one for sure. But there's no winners here because everyone's going to be forced to watch the Bears offense on Monday Night Football. So.
Yeah. All right. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait. All right, Faiz, thanks again for being here. Check out FaizSportsTalk, even if it's just to give them a little flack, razz them a little bit, heading in the week. Yeah, it should be a fun game. Again, appreciate it. Good luck to you, not Monday night, but the rest of the season, except for when we play you guys again. Maybe we can chat again when it comes to the follow-up game later.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was a pleasure being on, and go Bears, and talk to you soon, man.
All right, guys, that's SKOL'ing with the Enemy for today. Be sure to always keep your skull in your hole.